Hey, what's your name?
Cam.
Cam. Andy, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Andy.
So I used to work on the Hill. I worked for Kamala Harris in the last campaign cycle, and I worked for AOC this past summer. I guess like my question with like all the overpopulating that we're seeing in like food deserts, and it's hard for people to like live, right?
Yeah.
Why do we feel the need to bring those lives into this world, right? Like
They're already brought into the world.
Well, yeah, but they're not born, right? Like why are we
being born
condemning
matter?
them to a life of like hatred, and why are we like putting them in a position where they might not be able to like buy groceries or like a house?
So do you think that, so by this logic, because of the circumstance somebody's born into, we should be able to kill them? Do you think we should be able to kill homeless people?
No, of course not.
But it's terrible for them to live.
I mean, look at what Trump is doing in D.C. He got rid of all of them for a weekend. I mean, that's that same logic. Come on.
Right, but I'm not, wait, okay, hold up. There's a difference between...
You're wearing his hat. You're wearing his
There's
hat.
a difference between moving homeless people and killing them. You're advocating that because people are born into a shitty situation that we kill them. You understand the difference?
No, I don't think. I think that's a false attribution.
Homeless people
Yes.
are a public safety risk.
Yeah, sure.
So you try to get them out of public spaces where there are children, right? But you don't kill them because they're born into a crappy situation. You understand the difference?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the difference. You don't kill fetuses just because they might be born into a bad situation.
It's a resource allocation thing, right? Like I don't think that's what you're getting. Like, would you agree that it is hard for young people like me in America to buy a house?
Yeah.
Why are we bringing more people in to bring competitiveness up and house prices up further?
Wait, you guys are the ones who advocate for like unfettered immigration. So that's one issue
that
there.
Is not it.
Second of all, it's not about
Trump
bringing. One second, I'm not finished. You have to let me respond. Would you like? No, it's not true.
The Republicans
would you like me
bear
to
the
respond?
responsibility just as much as we do.
Would you like me to respond?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So the difference is, you're saying, why would we bring those people into existence? The problem is they're already brought into existence.
Yes.
You said, but they're not born. Why does being born matter? What's the difference between a fetus before it's born and after?
They don't have rights because they haven't been born, because they're still...
So in your mind, what gives somebody rights?
A birth certificate, citizenship.
Birth certificate gives you rights.
Yes.
So if you're born in a cryptic birth and your mother doesn't go to a hospital to birth you, you don't get a birth certificate, you don't have rights?
No,
or
you
what?
absolutely get it.
So it's not the birth certificate.
There are ways for people to get birth certificates.
So it's not the birth certificate.
What is this line of thought?
But there's obviously, if you're born in a cryptic birth, there's going to be a period where you don't have a birth certificate.
Yes.
So do you not have rights in that time?
You obviously still have rights. That's why
so it's not the birth certificate. The birth certificate doesn't matter.
Yes.
So let's move on. What's the next thing? What's the next thing that grants you rights?
The Constitution. It's the supreme law of the land.
I'm asking you when you should get the rights.
When you are born.
Why when you're born?
Why when you're born? Because that's when you start breathing. That's when you aren't reliant. I mean, like, are we going to charge
wait,
women
you think that
while
hold
they're
up.
pregnant with murder? Like,
you think that if the baby dies, I think so. If you
Okay.
are a newborn baby,
yeah.
You think you're independent? You're still relying on your mother. If your mother doesn't hold your neck up, it will fall back and break. You're completely dependent on your mother.
And like,
why does breathing matter? If you're on a ventilator, does that mean you should be allowed to be killed?
No.
Well, you can't breathe on your own. So.
Yeah. But like you are sentient. You are thinking. You have the ability.
So it's sentience. So sentience is important.
Yes.
Do you think that ants should have human rights?
No.
Ants are sentient.
Is that proven?
Do you think that yes? Do you think that cows should have human rights?
I think they do have rights as.
Do you think they should have human rights? So you think that human rights? You think that human rights are given when you're sentient? Cows are sentient. Do you think that cows should have human rights? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so your logic doesn't hold. What's
it
next?
Absolutely holds.
It
one
doesn't.
Are
What's the
animals
next thing?
And one are humans.
Okay, so it's human. I agree with you now. Now we're agreeing. I'm
just saying that something within a stomach which has the feasibility to.
Why does your geographic location matter?
What?
Why does your geographic location matter? You don't kill people just because they're in a certain location. Now we agree, though. You said the difference is that cows are cows and humans are humans, which I fully agree with.
Yes.
Humans, in my view, all genetically distinct human individuals ought to have the right not to be unjustly aggressed upon. All of them.
Sorry?
In my view, all genetically distinct human individuals ought to have the right not to be unjustly aggressed upon. All of them. So we agree here that they're humans.
Yes.
And in being human is what gives you rights.
Yes.
So what does the DNA of a fetus, what does their DNA indicate they are? What species?
It's not about DNA. It's about...
You just said it's because they're humans.
When you're cracking
our
an
fetus
egg,
is
are
human.
You killing a chicken? No, you're not.
Because the egg isn't fertilized.
Yes, but does fertilization matter?
When a genetically distinct human individual is born,
there's such a difference
yes.
between a fertilized egg and a chicken. Like, sure, we're not having this conversation.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Because the unfertilized egg has no capacity to grow into a full-size chicken.
Yeah, but I mean, are we...
An egg is not a genetically distinct
capacity,
chicken.
You can't also be arguing against things like affirmative action, right? Like, if we're talking about things from, like,
what does
what
that
they
have to do with
can be... right? Like that's the argument for affirmative action. Right?
I believe I laid out my argument for you. I believe that every genetically distinct human individual ought to have the right not to be unjustly aggressed upon. One second, I'm not finished. I'm not finished.
The perspective of
I'm
what
not
it can
finished.
be,
I'm not
right?
finished. No.
Okay.
Every genetically distinct human individual ought to have the right not to be unjustly aggressed upon. All genetically distinct human individuals. Now, your analogy about the egg, the difference is that a chicken's egg, is not a genetically distinct chicken. It's an egg, right? It's a gamete. It's the same thing that you'd find in a woman's ovaries, a human woman's ovaries, right? It's not a human. It's an egg. It's a difference.
Are you a biology major? Like, I'm also not a biology major, so I don't think this is probably the right focus for this argument.
96% of biologists would agree with me, so...
I don't think 96% of biologists would agree with this.
96% of biologists believe that life begins at conception. And what does the DNA inside of those cells indicate those cells belong to? What species?
Okay, you also don't know this
They're
answer.
humans.
You're not a
yes,
biologist.
I do. They're humans. Wait, this is an appeal to authority. I don't need to be a biologist to give you an answer of what the cells inside of that being would indicate they are. They're human, obviously.
Yeah, but I also
that?
don't need to be a biologist to say that, like,
you brought
I'm
up
not
biology.
dependent on something else, and so therefore, like, we should,
Newborns are completely dependent on the mother. Completely dependent on the mother.
Sure.
You can't kill newborns just because they're dependent on the mother.
Because they have been born.
So
and because they have rights as Americans.
Okay, but you have failed to substantiate why being born matters.
Because it's being born. It's when you stop becoming reliant on everything.
So can we agree on a definition of born?
You through your mother, and that's how you get your nutrients.
Can we agree on the definition?
There's such a distinction.
Can we agree on the definition of born?
Coming out of your mother's womb.
Fully out, yes? Okay, so if the mother is giving birth and she decides she doesn't want the baby anymore and its head is crowned, can she kill it? Because it's not born.
No.
Oh, whoa, but, so being born doesn't matter then?
It obviously matters.
Your standard of logic doesn't...
Okay, wait, are you going to kill something like
No,
that?
I'm asking if under your moral framework, considering you think that being born is the relevant factor here,
yes.
if you think it matters.
In what capacity?
Do you think that a mother who is giving birth and the baby's head has crowned, it is not fully left her body yet, should she be allowed to abort it?
No, obviously
Okay,
not.
so being born doesn't matter then?
No, it obviously does matter because that is the process of being born. It is being birthed.
But you just said that she can't kill it prior to the point of birth.
What?
You said it would not be acceptable for her to kill it prior to the point of birth. Can she kill it 2 minutes before it's born after her waters broke?
No, well...
Oh, so being born doesn't matter.
Because we have laws that prevent that, right? Like,
Why do we... Okay, but in your view, if you were the president of the United States, you were the dictator of the country, right? You're in charge of everything. You are omniscient. You can control everything, right? You have the power of the Supreme Court, the Congress, and the president. Would you say that the mother can abort the child 1 second before it's born?
Okay, no, because if...
being born doesn't matter.
No, you're not listening to me because you said if I was the president of the United States. If I was the president of the United States, right? Like there is a cutoff that I think that you can make with other people. I don't know what it is, to where, it is either immoral or, it harms the mother itself.
Do you see how that breaks your logic?
Talking, thank you. Right? So like, you've brought me to this point where we're talking biology, which I don't think matters, when you haven't refuted my idea of, why aren't we talking about the crisis of supply and demand in this country, right? Like we have so many houses and we have so many people struggling to live that we aren't bringing more people.
Dude, I understand that problem.
Yes.
I've been homeless. That's not this problem. They're two separate problems.
I mean, I think they're one and the same, realistically.
They're not one and the same. They're two completely different issues.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this one's about killing babies. The other one's about not enough houses. You see the difference?
Yes, but I think if you what's your number? What's your number of aborted children? Is it?
I don't know how many children have been aborted. Millions.
Okay, yeah. So like, if we bring all of those millions of people into America, into the modern day, does that not make every house go up by a certain?
You're saying that one issue could exacerbate the other, but they're not the same issue. You see?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your point?
So this issue is about the moral Is it moral to kill babies?
I mean,
I could pose you an argument.
Frameworks.
If you want more housing, kill 10 million people.
Okay.
Right?
Realistically,
bad solution.
I think you're trying to put me on a highlight reel. I think this is just like we're looking at two sides of the same coin, and we're just not going to agree. Can we?
It's fine. We cannot agree.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
I appreciate it. Have a good one.